Hey guys, this past week we were out in North Carolina working a clinic, and we attended Mule Days at Leatherwood, and oh man, it was just so fun and some great people. But after the Mule Days was over, we went for a trail ride with a lot of our good friends, and one of our friends was on a mule that she was having some trouble with, and I was also on Riata, and I haven't rode Riata much lately, but I was having a little trouble with Riata. You know, she was just feeling a little herd bound and whatnot. But my friend was on a mule that just wanted to keep scooting off and bolt on her, and we worked through it. She got real stressed a couple times and had some troubles, but I helped her, and she helped herself, and we worked through it, and she made it out okay. But after the deal, she asked me, she says, do you think I can do this? Do you think I'm a good match for this mule? Do you think I'll be okay? Basically, should I keep it, or do you think I should sell it? And I never answer anybody, unless I think they're gonna die. I don't tell them you should sell this mule or you should keep. You should keep it. Unless they're in real trouble or they're totally cool, I don't say much other than a few questions. And so these are the questions that I like to ask people, that I really like to ask people when they're in a predicament where they're wondering if am I a good match for this mule? The first one I ask is, because it's the most important piece, is, well, do you have the desire? Do you have the desire to help this mule? Do you have the desire to bring out the best in this mule? Do you have a desire to hang in there with this mule until you can make some positive changes? If you don't have the desire, if it's lacking, then you might as well throw it all away. It doesn't matter, because if you don't really want to get it done, you will never get it done. So that's the first thing I ask, is, do you have the desire? The second thing I ask is, do you have the ability? Okay, there's a lot of people out there that have the ability to do it. There's these troubled mules, it takes some ability. If you can't use your right leg, if you're beat up, if you're injured, or you're hurt, or things, or whatever. Somebody says, well, the mule, I got bucked off it and I broke my neck. I can't walk for 6 months. Well, there's probably some things to think about there. You might have all the desire, and you might have everything else that I'm going to talk about, but you might not have the ability to do it. So the ability is huge. Can you do it? Can you do the work? Okay. So first one's desire, second one's ability. The next one I ask is, do you have the knowledge? There's lots of people that have the desire, they have the ability, the knowledge is lacking. If the mule you're working is a bucking son of a gun, and you really want to help this mule and get it riding good, and you have all the ability, the physical ability in the world, but you don't know what the heck you're doing. Well, knowledge comes along, along with all of this. You learn it as you go, but you got to have a little bit of know-how to get some of this stuff done. So that's the next question. The fourth question I ask is, do you have the time? These troubled mules take some serious time. It's not a weekend endeavor unless you want it to take forever. You have to be willing to put in the time. There's some mules, if your mule's running off on you, you need to be working it every day. If you couple 2 or 3 hours a day, 5-6 days a week if you can. If you got a mule that's bucking, if you've got a mule that's having these serious issues, kicking, and all the bad stuff that you hear, you got to put in some serious time. It's not just a here and there, or it's gonna either, one, take you forever to fix, or two, it won't be fixed. So your consistency is such a key factor in staying up on this stuff. So the time is so important. Do you have the time? Because there might be, me for example, I'm a good example for this one. I have lots of desire. I love helping mules that are troubled. I love helping a troubled mule. Okay, I love it. I have the ability, as of right now, I have the ability to work with these animals. I have the knowledge, most definitely, to work through a lot of these issues, but my time. My wife and I were on tour all the time, and we don't have the I don't have the time. I couldn't even if I wanted to, and all these other things match up. I couldn't work with some of these troubled mules just because of my time. So that's something that's really important. And then the last one is, and this depends on what kind of trouble you're working on, but the facility. You got to have the facility. When my wife and I were taking a lot of mules for the public, people would bring me some crazy stuff, and a lot of this mule's never even been halter broke, never even been touched, and they're just wild, but they're domestic, so they're more wild than the wild ones. They're just running through fences and panels and stuff. So you got to have a good facility for some of these animals. People that have mules that are bolting and pulling lead ropes out of their hands, you got to have a facility to fit you. If you're working out in the middle of 5,000 acres, no fences, no help, and you got a mule that bolts and pulls out of your hand, well, that's not going to work for you. It's just not going to work. So you got to have the facility to do it, and that's important. And so there's those 5 things that you got to have to work with these animals. Okay, you got to have the desire, number 1. Number 2, you have to have the ability. Number 3, you have to have the knowledge. Number 4, you have to have you gotta have the time. That's just so important, as the time. And number 5, you gotta have the facility. So those are what I think about when somebody asks me, am I a good match for this mule? Should I keep working on this troubled mule? What should I do, Ty? That's what I ask them. So anyways, hope this might help you guys, those of you that might be in the same spot as my friend, and deciding what you should do. So have a good day, and we'll see you.